Hello viewers, I'm Red2006 and I'm very pleased to have you join me on the latest leg of our scenic tour through the Johto region in Pokemon Gold version. As a quick recap on our last day's adventuring, I defeated Faulkner at the Violet City Gym and earned myself the Zephyr badge. I went out on a little catching tour and met some new friends, and a nocturnal adventure was sullied by way too many Rattata. Today's episode begins with a field trip to the Ruins of Alph. Welcome back everyone! It's time to head out on our little field trip today. We're going to the Ruins of Alph, and I'm pretty sure you all know what that means, so just bear with me. It's like those boring field trips in high school, or excursions depending on which region you live. You'd sort of be stuck listening to your teacher drone on about all these things for which you really didn't care. The naughty kids were looking to hide somewhere so they could have a smoke or something like that. Anyway, this is the Ruins of Alph. Go in here and have a quick chat to the scientists who are researching the location. It would be interesting to investigate such a location in real life. Archaeology and history are genuinely fascinating. You get all sorts of interesting rewards, and in Crystal, you'll actually find hidden items in rooms at the back of these chambers. You will need to do certain things like use an escape rope or flash, and I don't quite remember the other two. I'll pop those up on screen. But you will get a nice little treasure trove. Anyway, this is the main chamber. It's empty. I'm not going to drag you through the whole thing. But let's talk to this guy, and he will mention a real-world location. These appeared a fair bit in the first two generations and in some Pokédex entries, such as Raichu's, which mention it being able to knock out an Indian elephant with its electricity. They were gradually phased out, and to be honest, part of me is kind of disappointed that they don't call Lieutenant Surge the Lightning American anymore. The Lightning Lieutenant is still a pretty cool title, but there is maybe a little part of me that does resist change every so often. Anyway, this area, as you will see, is connected to Union Cave. You can surf down here to get to another puzzle chamber, and two more will be accessible by Union Cave, so we will come back here later on. For now, this is the only puzzle we can access. This Pokemon is Kabuto. It's my favourite fossil Pokemon. I like Kabutop's design. It looks just straight up vicious, and it has some pretty good stats as well. It sadly couldn't use water moves very well until Generation 4, but then again Omastar couldn't really use rock moves very well until Generation 4. And it got the short end of the stick because there really aren't very good special class rock moves. On the other hand, there are some very good physical water moves like Waterfall and Aqua Jet that greatly help Kabutops. Many of you may praise Lord Helix if you've been watching Twitch Plays Pokemon, but I've always liked Kabutops. Omastar's definitely not bad and it does look pretty neat, but Kabutops is just my favourite. Hang on, that should go over there. Let's see if I've actually got these ones right this time. I have a bad tendency to flub those bottom two puzzle pieces. Whoop. No, I actually got it right this time. I've managed to screw it up every other time I've recorded. And the floor gives way. No wonder nobody wanted to solve that puzzle. And now we're back in the main chamber with a strange and eerie presence. It is the spotlight Pokemon for today, Unknown. Dedicating an episode spotlight to Unknown is a bit unusual. It's pretty crummy as you can see from the stats, and from Generation 4 onwards, its attack stat is totally useless because Hidden Power is a special move. Unknown is a lot more powerful in supplementary material, however. You can see its powerful creative abilities in the third Pokemon movie, Spell of the Unknown, and it also helps Arceus reshape the universe in the special event that gave you Dialga, Palkia or Giratina in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So despite their connection with Arceus, they're still pretty terrible. You don't really get very much for catching them all, 26 in Generation 2 and 3, and 28 since the exclamation and question marks were added from Generation 4 onwards. It's kind of interesting. I like the thought of it being connected to various ancient languages and representing the alphabet. Some unknown in different linguistic forms have been seen, only very briefly though. It would be nice developing on that, but for now, Unknown is essentially reduced to a joke Pokemon. So with all that information out of the way, let's catch it. Obviously we're not going to be using this. Hello, it's got a super effective move. It's very difficult to determine what Hidden Power will do. You can easily pick its type, but you can't pick its power that easily. It fluctuated between 30 and 70 up until, I can't remember which generation. Put it up on screen, future me. And, well, to be honest, it's kind of awkward. At least in those early generations anyway, because they did add the option to determine which type your hidden power would be, and changing it to a set power of 60 actually helped a lot. Depending on the individual values involved, it can be a useful coverage move. For example, most electric types will have hidden power Ice to help them cover their ground weaknesses and deal with dragons. But it really doesn't do much for Unknown. That pretty much sums up the Ruins of Alph for now. I'm going to switch to Ruby because she needs a few more levels. Kind of held her back a bit. It would have been really easy just running over the top of everyone in the Violet City gym with Ruby, but much better to get levels into the others. Let's head along Route 32 and take a while to admire the beautiful scenery. You have this sort of mix of mountain ranges, so all those trees, and there's even a lake further on. In the remakes, a bridge for the magnet train comes across here too. You'll see it just down by the lakes. Apologies for cutting those chunks out. I really don't want to wind up encountering shiny Pokemon on the early routes, because I've already had something like that happen. My worst acquisition of a shiny Pokemon is a shiny Alolan Rattata. The first one I got was probably my favourite encounter because that was a Graveler which I caught at level 54. It knew Explosion, and I am very grateful it didn't blow up. I found some other good ones along the way, but I think for all of them, that Graveler is my favourite, hands down. Though Alomomola comes pretty close, and of course, my shiny Faris is definitely up there. What about you guys? What's your favourite shiny Pokemon? Have you had really bad luck with any? What's the worst shiny Pokemon you found? Leave something in the comments, I'd be really interested in finding out. It's nice to share those little stories, just those little moments of prestige or good luck that add a bit of character to the journey. We're going to head on through the long grass now. Ruby is not going to fare very well against the trainers on the bridge over there because, well, they use water-type Pokemon. Another Nidoran. Catch one of these if you want a really dependable Pokemon that can use a broad variety of moves. It's even better once they get their hidden ability and can use Sheer Force. The sheer variety of moves, that is a terrible accidental pun, I'm sorry, but the variety of moves they can use, which have added effects, make them very dependable. Slightly prolonged battle, and Ruby is level 12. She'll get Magnitude at level 16. back onto the scenic tour elements. Back onto the scenic tour elements, as I was saying before I got interrupted, just look at this location. It looks really, really good in the remakes. It's pretty good now, to be honest. I mean, you have this lake nearby, you've got all these trees, it's just so peaceful. It really gives you that natural sense, as I mentioned in the previous episode. Johto feels so much more relaxed. We can battle this guy as well, just to sort of suddenly change topic, but he has Wooper. That is not going to be a good encounter for Ruby. I will have to get Wooper just so we've got a backup through the cave because I don't have Magnitude yet. If he has a Wooper, it means he's been hanging out at night or maybe in the morning. Not sure if Wooper does appear during the morning, I'll have to double check. Anyway, Sentret should be able to take care of this. There we go. One level away from evolving. So you can head on down here towards the Pokemon Center, and this guy will stop you. You can't carry 1,000 Pokedogs. 1,000? A million. Let's say you can't carry 1,000,000 because that's equal to 1,000,000. What am I doing? No, I do not want the Slowpoke tail. He may be connected to Team Rocket. If you come up here on a Friday, you can talk to one of the siblings connected to the days of the week. She'll give you a poison barb. Frida or Friday, remember that. There's also a Great Ball there. And there's another opponent for Ruby to take on down here, so I will switch to her. It is another bird keeper. You'll see the entrance to Union Cave just nearby. We'll be heading in there later. His team is not going to be a challenge if you've beaten Faulkner. Basically, this is why I didn't use Ruby. Once she gets Rock Throw, absolute juggernaut. Unless, of course, she's facing a Grass or Water type Pokemon, then she's in a lot of trouble. Of course, Rock Throw can still miss. I think it has 95 accuracy. Either way, it's a lot better than it used to be. In Generation 1, it only had 65% accuracy, believe it or not. Rock Slide had 90 accuracy, which was pretty good. You could easily make it available by duplicating items. And it had a really awesome animation with great sound effects. Hey, level 13! Stats are looking pretty good. I will switch back to Dash to take on those Water-type Pokemon. And we can wrap things up by heading along that bridge. So yeah, it's around about here, just ahead of us, that the Magnet Train Bridge came through. Those trainers, I believe, are standing pretty much underneath it. Catch this guy's attention and you will want to get his phone number. If you're looking for Quillfish, which is admittedly unremarkable, he will give you a call. Shouldn't be too hard to deal with. Fortunately, Supersonic's crummy accuracy does make it a gamble. And we won't suffer any damage. Goldeen can hit reasonably hard with Horn Attack, but it's not fantastic. Mostly Goldeen and Seaking were notable for being the only Pokemon that naturally learnt an HM move. And we've got a call from Mum. Every so often she will find items, or sometimes Pokedolls. Items will go to our PC, the dolls and the like will go to our room. We can decorate it in a prototype secret base setup. And we've interrupted a guy. So, our punishment for interrupting him and making him lose a fish is Magikarp. For Magikarp. Every bit as fascinating as facing a bevy of Bellsprouts. 3 of these are level 5, 1 is level 15. And they might have just enough defense to prolong things. It is worth noting that Magikarp actually does not have the lowest base stat total of all Pokemon, despite the fact the games tend to talk about how weak and underpowered it is. So here's the much stronger one, which does no tackle. Shouldn't do too much damage, really. Does have pretty decent speed, Magikarp. I think it's about base 80 or so. Doesn't actually improve from very much for Gyarados. But Magikarp can't really dish out a lot of damage, and it is down. We get pretty crummy experience for it. It's surprising that there is a fairly decent experience yield, comparatively speaking, from Pokemon with base stat totals lower than Magikarp. I suppose it was just the joke character to begin with. And there we go. One more opponent to go, so we can wrap things up once we've beaten him. Now, given he's fishing in this area, you'd probably expect his Pokemon to be Magikarp. Well, you'd be wrong. Poliwag. Poliwag can be a pretty good Pokemon. Fairly versatile in terms of its evolutions, and Politoed was notorious as one of the best rain setters in the Generation 5 metagame when it got drizzled. Or if we knock this one out, I think we're going to evolve. Hopefully it doesn't use Hypnosis and we get stuck for... Oh good, it missed, because I didn't want to be sitting there for 6 turns. In some of my practice recordings, Hypnosis did indeed affect me for 6 turns, and it was really, really boring. Oh, come on! Give me a T. And there we go! That's a better way to wrap up the episode. There he is, our new friend. So let's check out our long boy's stats. HP has jumped right up. Much faster as well, and slight improvements across the board in the other stats. I really wish there was a bit more to Forest and it could get some sort of improvements in later generations. If I'm going to be honest, I would very much like to make a polished version of the Johto games that sharpen the level curve a bit, make the Johto Pokemon available a bit earlier, especially those ones you find much, much later in the game, and maybe add a little bit more in terms of the daily events, like have people from Azalea Town actually heading up to the bug catching contest, because Bugcatcher Wade will tell you about it. Thing is, if they did a lot to polish it, I think they'd probably be in a situation where they've got a near perfect Pokemon game, as long as they kept everything Heart Gold Soul Silver did. Because if I'm going to be honest, the connection between people and Pokemon and everything it made you feel in that game sort of ruined Team Plasma's position. They almost couldn't bring up everything Heart Gold and Soul Silver said, because Team Plasma would have been shot down in 5 seconds flat. Anyway, before I finish, I have to remember to do this. And we have an old rod. I forgot to get this and had to backtrack in the practice recordings. So, the next time you see me, I will probably be fishing. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next installment of our scenic tour through the Johto region.